Okay, so yeah, so my name is Uche Chukwuobu. I'm currently the head of DevOps and application development at Nobus Cloud Services. But prior to that, I started off like everyone as a software engineer, right? And I've been in the industry for over 6 years in different technical capacities. But before we go ahead, right, I would like to get a general um analysis of everybody. So I want, if you're here, I want you in one word or one sentence, what comes to your mind, right, when you hear about cloud, right? What's that word that, if I say cloud computing, what's the one word, one sentence that that you can use to describe it? So if possible, I'd like you to drop your comments on the chat. Thank you. So I can just get a gauge of who I'm talking to, right? So it won't just be me speaking without any interaction from you guys. So please just indulge me, you know. One word, what comes to your mind when you hear the word cloud? Okay. Online server. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, that's great. Gift, online server, that's correct. Okay, thank you, Gift. Thank you, Gift. So today I'm going to be introducing Nobus Cloud Services. But before I go into that, I just want to do a brief overview of what cloud is, and how cloud has evolved in Nigeria over the years. So, like Gift said correctly, that's a very accurate statement, right? Cloud is basically, in terms of definition, you can define it as the abstraction of the process of abstracting, the hosting, management, and maintenance of physical servers, right? Um, Over the years, it has evolved into the abstraction of, software engineering processes, deployment processes. That's where you have things like product as a service, software as a service, right? It's all about abstraction. So the aim of cloud is basically to reduce the overhead on businesses and companies, and to allow them focus on, building their core technology without having to handle all these other excesses. So before cloud became a thing, right? Um, in Nigeria, then you used to have companies maintaining their own servers, and one of the disadvantages of not being on the cloud is the cost of maintenance is too high. Then, considering the country we are in, we have infrastructure issues mainly around power, right? So a lot of companies we are hosting by themselves physically, and it costs a lot to hire professionals that can maintain those servers, update them, patch them. So over time, they now started introducing technologies like VMware, Azure and others. So at that point, when AWS and co were coming up, um, I mean, some businesses started adopting these services here in Nigeria, which now led to the new problem. First of all, your data is hosted outside of your country, which poses data sovereignty issues. Your costing is denominated in dollar, which, I mean, meant that every time you have to pay for your cloud hosting, you have to start looking for dollar. Um, the technical, you are far away from AWS, you don't know anybody there. So the cost of support is also high. So over the years, in 2018, um, so actually Nobus has been in operation for a while, or rather the precursor company to Nobus has been in operation for a while, doing cloud consulting services, doing migrations on-prem to off-prem, on-prem to off-prem, off-prem to on-prem, migrations and consultations. So, but in 2019, we decided to take it to the next step, right? We decided to build Africa's first native public cloud platform, right? So there are other cloud, I mean, quote and unquote, cloud platforms here in Nigeria, but none of them are native. None of them are running um, the technology themselves. So most of them are reselling VMware, Azure Stack, AWS services, which basically still doesn't solve the problem of, the costing being in dollars and, the distance, the latency issues and all that. So 2018, Nobus, we undertook this task. To show you how heavy the task is, it took us around 2 years of active development to actually come up with the first MVP, right? The first working version of the product, which was launched in 2020, right? Um, so since then, we've been up, and due to the way we build the platform, we've actually been able to stay up. So at this point, please, if you have any questions, you can drop it on the chat. We'll get to it later so that you won't forget. If you have any contributions, any questions, you can also drop it on the chat. I'd like these sections to be as interactive as possible. Yeah. So over to the slide. So Nobus, what is Nobus? Nobus is basically a native public cloud platform. What do I mean by native? What it means is that from all the technology, right, aside from licenses, right, from other companies, but Nobus owns, manages, maintains all the technologies involved in our business from the ground up. We are not reselling any other business, right? So we are a complete plat public cloud platform, the same as AWS, right? We are a bit smaller in scope, but we are at our starting stages, but the difference is also that we have the potential to grow into Africa's AWS, right? And become a global giant in the cloud industry. But if you are reselling for some of the other cloud platforms that are reselling, um, reselling Azure or some other products, they can't grow beyond what they are selling. Yeah, so let's just run through the slides and then we'll take questions if there are any questions. All right. So yeah, so what are our four lenses, right? So this are our four value propositions to our customers, right? The first thing is that we are a 100% Nigerian owned company, right? We are 100% Nigerian owned, domiciled within Nigeria. All your data, if you host your data on Nigeria, all your data in Nobus right now, all your data is domiciled within the country, and you have serious latency. At least the last time we ran a test on Nobus, comparing latency between AWS and Nobus, and a server hosted in AWS and servers hosted on Nobus, we beat that benchmark by 3 milliseconds, which is actually a lot, right? So location-wise, we are hosted in a tier 3 data center here in Nigeria, and the data center is tier 3 by both design and implementation, meaning that they can survive, a lot of crisis scenarios without going down. Actually, the data center we are on, they've been in operation for over 10 years, and they've never had a downtime, right? You might be wondering how. Some of their selling points is that they are independent of the Nigerian power infrastructure. That means they are generating their energy themselves. So which has also helped mitigate the problem of power that we have in Nigeria. The technology is also another selling point, which like I said earlier, we own the technology from the ground up. We build our cloud infrastructure in such a way that no matter what happens, right, we will not lose data and we will not go down. So every service that is running on Nobus is running in clusters of highly scalable servers, right? All our drives are running SSD drives. All our servers are modern servers. This is to avoid a case of servers shutting down or because of age or poor maintenance. So the way Nobus is, actually, a server in Nobus can go down and the customer will not notice because all our services run in clusters. So if one single server goes down, it cannot take down the infrastructure. It will take the entire cluster going down, which we have built-in mechanisms to prevent that. Actually, one of the crisis situations we've had, which was 2 years ago, was when one of our compute servers went down. Within 30 minutes, right, we were able to fix everything. What even happened was, okay, a compute server went down. Customers that had their VMs running on that compute server experienced a slowdown in their speed because the system was automatically copying those servers out of that compute server. And within 30 minutes, the service was restored to optimal. So this is to show that we've actually taken time to invest in learning this technology and building something that can hold water across board in the industry. All right, cost value proposition. Um, so as at 2020 when we launched, if you benchmark our prices or Nobus pricing with all the other major players, which is AWS, Azure, GCP, we were at par, and in some cases we were slightly cheaper. But considering the whole dollar situation, okay, Gift, I see your question. I'll get back to it. The whole dollar situation, um, over the years, right? I mean, I think then dollar was maybe around 300. Right now, you can consider, you can consider the value proposition you get while hosting at Nobus. Now, you can't even compare the cost of hosting your servers at Nobus to AWS. It doesn't make any sense. So, give to your question, yes, the tier 3 data center we're talking about is actually Rack Center. They are one of our partners. Yes, they've not had any downtime. I mean, people usually offer 99.99, 99.98 in SLA, right? But they have never had a downtime. They've had 100% uptime, no downtime, right? Um, yeah, so what was that? So value cost proposition. So we also have a unique, um, we also have a unique billing system in Nobus because one of the challenges we identified as a young company starting out was the problem of payment, right? The way the cloud industry is currently globally, excuse me, you pay based on what you've used. So um, you pay for, let's say you use a service for 1 month, then at the end of the month, they send you a bill and you pay it. But we studied the Nigerian landscape and we observed that that system will not work here because Nigerians, sadly, we have the tendency to want to use services and then it's now have to start chasing them for your money, basically, which will lead to manpower, channeling resources, or channeling scarce resources, towards chasing those payments. So we came up with a new and unique way of billing, which fully automated from a technology standpoint. So at Nobus, we bill you based on your usage, but we bill you upfront. So if you provision a server at Nobus today, you'll be billed for that server for your billing cycle. So the billing cycles, you have monthly cycles, quarterly cycles, biannual cycles, and annual cycles. Right. So yes, okay, there. So once you provision, you are billed. So what that means actually is, let's assume that you are on an annual cycle on Nobus and you paid for 1 year. You are guaranteed that within that year, your prices are stable. So even if we increase, let's say we increase the cost of licensing, but you've already paid for licensing for 1 year. So we actually did that. Part of the reason we do this is also to provide a level of stability to customers so that before the end of the month, right, you already know that, okay, this is my cloud cost. on Nobus, and it's not changing unless you add new services, right? You gotta wake up and today we bill you 20,000 naira, and next month we are billing you 30,000 naira arbitrarily with no explanation. So, yeah. So at Nobus, you have stable pricing. Actually, since 2020 that we started operations, we've not increased our pricing. We just recently increased our pricing this month, actually, for the first time, right? So that's to show you that stability, at least pricing stability, is also very important to us. And we've actually, where's that coming from? Please, can you mute? Okay, so yeah, where was I? Yeah, so we try to ensure that your pricing. Hi, please, can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me, please. Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Okay. Okay, is it just me or there's a noise? There's a sound I'm hearing from the background. I think from the person I've been from.
We can hear you. Just go ahead. I think they've muted the person.
All right, all right. Thank you. So what are the why should you host your services with Nobus, right? First of all, if your customers are located here in Nigeria and you are using your service here in Nigeria, right? Because your content is hosted locally, you have better latency. It takes a shorter distance, right, for data to move from where your services are hosted to the people, to the individuals or the companies consuming those services, right? So um, the numbers are there. We'll have sub 10 milliseconds latency within Lagos and sub 60 milliseconds latency within outside of Lagos, right? From a regulatory and compliance standpoint, I mean, based on data sovereignty, in some industries, it's actually required, such as the banking, health industry. It's required that your data is actually domiciled within your country of operation. So, yeah, so that we also help you to, comply to those regulations, right? Um, so agile provision and management and flexibility. So on Nobus, as with any other cloud platform, right, you can provision your services within minutes. Sorry, excuse me. You can provision your services within minutes and automate the provisioning, scaling up and scaling down of these services. And everything is self-service. Actually, you can go up to our website today, sign up, sign up, provision your services, make your payments without any third person interference. Just be you and the platform, right? Yeah. So another reason why you should actually host your services with us is actually that we are from a security standpoint, right? We are we have taken a lot of steps to ensure that our platform is secure, both from an infrastructure standpoint and from the software standpoint. So from an infrastructure standpoint, the Nobus environment is not exposed to the internet at all. We have tight control over who can access the core Nobus environment, right? You can't access it remotely, you can't access it from the internet. From a software standpoint, at Nobus, we are PCI DSS certified, we are ISO 12700 certified, and we are currently due our NDPR certification, which will be out by next week. Yeah, and on the platform also you have advanced security protocols like security groups, firewalls. We also have integrations for advanced software level security, such as WAF, um, DDoS prevention systems, and all that. Right. Please, if you have questions, right, keep them coming. I'll attend to them while this is going on. So yeah, on Nobus, actually, beyond compute, you can actually build out your full scale database on Nobus, right? On the Nobus platform, for instance, you can build out your complete networking infrastructure, right? You can create gateways, you can create networks, you can create routers, you can create subnets, you can create from a networking point of view, you can full scale data, right, on Nobus, and then provision your resources. From a storage standpoint, um, from a storage standpoint, we have two different classes of storage at this time. We have object storage, which is called the Nobus flexible object storage, and we'll have the block storage, which is called flexible block storage. Right, sorry. Right, yes, flexible block storage. All our servers at Nobus run on modern SSDs. Our compute servers run a minimum of 40K IOPS, right? The exact figure, I actually don't have it, but I know the minimum is 40K IOPS for read operations, for write operations, and 90K IOPS for read operations, right? So beyond the normal compute storage services that we offer, we also offer something we call Nobus Fast Transit, right? So it's basically, if you're familiar with AWS, this is the same thing as Direct Connect. So we can provide the direct connection between your office, for instance, and the Nobus infrastructure, so that your traffic does not go over the internet. So let's say you're using MTN in your office. We have MTN, a lot of other providers already plugged into our platform, so that if you are on MTN network, we can create a direct connect through MTN to your office, so that you can interact with your services, without going outside to the public internet, right? So some of our partners currently, Canonical, HP, Cisco, Rack Center, Dimension Data, Stripe. We also have Acronis and a whole lot of other partners, right? So this is the Nobus provisioning console, excuse me, right? Where you provision your resources, manage your resources. As you can see, like I was saying earlier, these are the you can provision your full scale network environment. We also support orchestrations with heat templates, Terraform. We also provide DNS services, so you can point your name servers to the Nobus domain management system, and manage your name servers here, create your hosted zones and your routes within the same platform. So Kayode is asking how many availability zones does Nobus have in Nigeria. So right, so currently we have two availability zones, right? One is live at Track Center, the other one is coming up by towards the end of the month at ADC. Right. So we have two availability zones within Lagos. Over time we are planning to increase the availability zones even beyond Nigeria, across Africa. But right now the other availability zone is still coming up, but it's on the island at ADC. So it will be up by towards the end of the month, right? So yeah. So this is your management. At Nobus, we have two dashboards. You have your management dashboard and you have your provisioning dashboard. Your management dashboard is basically for um, you know, for managing, adding users, removing users, monitoring, tracking your payments, managing quotas. Yeah, so this is what we do here. But when you want to now actually provision resources, you now come to this console and provision the resources as you need. I think that's about it. So thank you very much for your time. Okay. So this time for Q&A. Okay, I see a question on the chat. Who is your connectivity service provider at Center? Okay, so we actually have multiple connectivity service providers. We have so what we did actually is that we tried to have, so there are 4 network cables that are coming to Nigeria. We try to have providers for each network cable. So fiber cable. So what this means is that if anything happens to any of those cables, we have redundancy. So we have like 4 providers. So for instance, there was an outage last 2 months, where MTN, and I think it affected MTN Airtel, where the cable that was coming into the country caught on the Atlantic Ocean. We are not affected. Why? Because the way the platform is built is switched over automatically to the available provider. That's the provider that whose link is still up, right? So customers on the platform did not even notice that anything happened. So that is how the platform is built. I hope that answers the question. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'm hoping you have questions, a lot of questions, so we can go through them one after the other. So yeah, please feel free to ask your question. Maybe drop it on the chat. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So right. Your question is, how is the data center located in Lagos ensure effective coverage of remote areas and establish availability zones for optimal service reliability? Okay. So the way it works, right, is not so for example, let's say you are hosting in Lagos. It doesn't mean that somebody in Owerri cannot access your service. It just means that the latency is slightly higher, right? So the way our service is optimized, for instance, right, we use some of the providers we use, for instance, MTN, a lot of other providers. From a networking standpoint, they have coverage all over the country, right? So even if your service is hosted in Lagos, right, it doesn't affect that somebody's, for instance, your servers, if you're hosting on AWS, your servers are hosted all over the world, Ireland, France, it's far, but you're here in Nigeria and you can be in your village somewhere. So far as there's network connectivity, I can still connect to your service. Yes. Um, how flexible is it to reach out to you if need be? And do you guys have an accessible customer center? Yeah, so if you want to reach out to us, yes, it's very easy to reach out to us. You can reach out to us via mail. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn. And I mean, we'll respond immediately. Before the end of the call, I'll drop the mail on the chat. Or let me just do that now. You can send email, I'll be answered. So mail sent to this email will be answered. I mean, within, yeah, you can also reach out to Casper, right. Casper is one of our close partners, and you can reach out to them, and they can talk to us directly. Yeah. So any other question? Hi, Michael. I think I already answered that question.
Okay, thank you very much, Uche. So, in the essence of no questions, Uche, I would love to maybe ask on behalf of our customers. So, we also need to, aside contacting Casper, maybe you can also tell us on the call how we can schedule for a POC for an interested customer. So, how
Okay.
does Nobus do the POC?
Okay, right. Please, can you still hear me? Okay, so at Nobus, right, we have this focus that our priority is not, of course, we want to make money, but the priority is not to make money. The priority is to make sure that our clients that are on the platform are satisfied. So we have this policy that, okay, yes, we run POCs. If you come on board, if you try to migrate your platform to Nobus, right, we give you the first month, we don't charge you for the services hosted because we assume that you use it for migration, for testing, and for certain things of that is for POC. We give you 1 month free POC on Nobus, after which you now start being built, right? Yeah, and this is common practice for everybody, right? So for the first month, you won't be billed. We also provide support, high level support to you to enable you migrate properly and seamlessly into the platform and give you time to test things out before we now start billing. I don't know if that answers the question.
All right, all right. So it does, of course. So one more thing that might be of concern, actually saying this on behalf of every other person. So we might be worried about why migration. Let's say we are currently running on Azure and AWS. So the customer might be, how do I put it now? Reluctant to take up this POC because of the fear of losing some of its data and stuff while migration. So can you guarantee the reliability while migration, even on POC level? Is there a guarantee that every data that customer has in previous cloud service, AWS, Azure, will not be tampered with while migration and there's no loss of data in any?
Okay, yes, we can. Actually, like I mentioned earlier, from a security and data standpoint, right? We are actually ISO, PCI DSS, NPPR compliant, right? Just to not brag, but to speak to the work we've done at Nobles. We've been up and operational for 4 years, and we've never had a downtime. So from a reliability standpoint, yes, we are reliable, right? There's nothing like data loss between transfers. I mean, over the years, we've done a lot of migrations from most of these services, and we've never had a case of data. In fact, throughout our operations, no customer on Nobus have lost data because the way Nobus is structured, it will take, I don't know, maybe who knows, Russia to bomb Nigeria for us to actually lose data, right? Unless they destroy everything, right? Because even beyond our environment, our data is also backed up in a separate, isolated environments, just in case of any issues. So yeah, so yes, we can guarantee. Actually, the moment you sign up and agree to the Nobus contract on the sign-up process, you are guaranteed a 99.98% uptime from an SLA standpoint. So these are some of the assurances we try to provide for our customers.
Okay, thank you very much. And at this point, thank you very much for your time. And we want to extend our appreciation for all our customers for joining in on this insightful webinar. And thank you for sharing your expertise and valuable insights with us. So I think with these informations that you've given us, our customers can leverage on Nobus and what it has to offer. So once again, I thank you, Tay. I thank everyone for joining in today on this webinar. So as we wrap up, we'll be sharing in our webinar survey so that you can reach out to us in any event of need to set up POC inquiries and vis-a-vis. So at this stage, we'll be wrapping up and ending this program. Thank you everyone for joining in. You have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.